So the copper golem is finally being added to Minecraft, which makes it the first mob to be added from a mob vote that didn't win a vote. And before you say it, frogs don't count since they were from a biome vote. But does this mean the next drop update will finally bring back some of the forgotten mobs from mob votes? Hey yo, I'm Creato, and with the possibility of some of the old mob vote mobs making a comeback, that brings up the question which ones will be added, and what sort of features could they bring to Minecraft? Because when you start to dig into it, you'll see that a lot of the mobs from old mob votes actually have the potential to be really good additions to help reshape different areas of your Minecraft experience. Alright, so let's go on a tour of the history of the mob vote, since it all started back in the ancient year of 2020, which was, wow, 5 years ago already? Well, existential dread aside, that was when we got our very first mob vote, and with this new power came the glow squid. Yeah, the glow squid won that time, which left the Mubloom and the Oelager never to see the light of day again. Until today. Well, sorta. Since starting with the Mubloom, it was meant to spawn in flower forests, which would have made it the first exclusive mob to spawn there. And Mublooms are the happiest and friendliest mob since they really do think the world is all sunshine and rainbows. Which, if you think the world is just the flower forest, then I see how you would think that. But I mean, just look at them. They eat wheat and make the most adorable baby Mubloom ever. How could this have possibly lost the mob vote? Actually, don't answer that. But anyway, the Mublooms would happily roam the flower forests until they catch up with their best friends, which are the bees, since the bees would be able to pollinate from the Mubloom and then take all that back to their hive to turn into honey. And if this isn't the perfect example of teamwork, I don't know what is. And you also might have noticed the flowers on the Mubloom which aren't just for show, since those are buttercups, which aren't a new snack, but rather a new type of flower which you can get by giving the Mublooms a quick little haircut with some shears. And the buttercups aren't like other flowers, since they can craft yellow dye. Pretty neat, huh? No, but really, the buttercups can also be crafted into a suspicious stew that gives an effect that does the opposite of hunger. Think of it as a sort of bonus for choosing to eat a flower over other foods. But anyway, that's the Mubloom, which would be the perfect mob to live in the flower forest along with the bees. But the Mubloom wasn't the only mob that lost to the glow squid, since the Oelager was another mob that would be a pretty cool new Oelager variant that spawns high up in the mountaintops. And this guy knows chill, cause look at him, iced out from head to toe with the coldest fit ever. But looks can be deceiving, cause this guy brings in serious heat with his ice attacks from above, which cause freezing damage as you slowly feel the effects of some major ice burn. And the Oelager doesn't mess around, cause these ice blocks can deal a lot of damage, since they actually float above you and even follow you around until you pause for even a second as they begin to crash down, certain to cause an icy injury. And you'll need to move quick to give this guy what he deserves, since he likes to run around a lot until you're finally able to smack him enough for him to drop what might just be his child. Oh, wait, no, that's not a child, because it's a brand new totem of freezing, which is actually something useful you'll want to have around, since this totem will activate once your health drops below halfway and then gives you the speed effect so you can make a quick escape. Which kinda makes me wonder why it's called a totem of freezing when it gives you speed. But oh well, I'm not complaining. That now brings us up to 2021, where we got our second mob vote that resulted in the LA being added as part of the 1.19 update. Which must have been a really popular update, huh? Well, something was definitely cooking that year, cause now we're getting the copper golem, which was also a part of the mob vote from that year, which leaves just one mob on the waiting list from that year. Any guesses? That's right, it's the glare. You didn't forget, did you? And the glare spawns in lush caves since it's pretty much like a moss block that grew eyes and learned how to fly. And you'll also need to stock up on glowberries since they are the favorite snack for the glares. And luckily, I don't think it'll take long to find glowberries since you'd already be in a lush cave. But once you feed the glare enough, it will become tamed and then seek out the nearest dark area and alert you to light the place up. And the glares are really scared of the dark, so they're doing you a pretty big favor by risking themselves to enter the darkness. Which, you know, might not seem like a big deal to you, but it sure is for the glare. I mean, just look at how scared he is in the dark. Okay, but really, that's about it for the glare. It helps you know where to place light in dark places, but more importantly, it just looks nice floating around the lush cave. And while we're still down in the caves, we can move on to 2022, which brought us our third mob vote, which gave us the sniffer as the winner. Tell me how this won when the other two options were better. Anyway, one of the mobs that lost to the sniffer was the rascal, which would have spawned in mine shafts and would have gone perfect with the glare. But neither of them exists, so never mind. But the rascal would be the first exclusive mob in the mineshaft, and would have made the place feel a bit alive, because the rascal loves to mess around with you, and is actually a master of hide and seek, since he can run really fast and likes to get away from you before you're able to catch up to him. And in order to win, you need to play by his rules, which say that you don't win until you're able to catch him 3 separate times, then he'll give you a special reward for playing along. And tell me I didn't just do all that running for an iron pickaxe. But the rascal doesn't give just an iron pickaxe, since there's also other items he's been stashing away. You'll just have to keep finding him over and over until he decides to give you something better, which I guess sorta depends on what your idea of better items are, since the rascal seems to be mostly for anyone who doesn't have the best tools yet, since most of the stuff are really common items. Cause I bet the rascal was able to get that iron while he had me chasing him around this mineshaft. Cause if he would instead give useful items like night vision potions or golden apples, then I would actually want to chase him around without a sword in hand. Alright, enough running around, because there's one more mob from this year's mob vote, which was the tough golem that would have been perfect for just walking around your world. Also, if you're enjoying the video, please make sure to leave a like and hit subscribe, as all your support really means a lot. Because just look at these guys. They've got their own outfits and everything. And since they're golems, that means you can build them anywhere you want, making them perfect for any place you can think of. Because I have to actually make all my own friends. But that's actually perfect, since you can choose the wool block you want, which will change the color of the outfit the tough golem is wearing, so that you can give each one its own look with different colors, or just in case you have a strict uniform policy for whatever reason. And the best part about tough golems aren't just their outfits, but also the fact that they will hold any item for you, you know? Just in case you get tired of carrying around so many items. No, but really, this turns the tough golems into walking pedestals that can showcase whatever item you want for anyone passing by to get a look at, which is perfect for showing off all your favorite items, or maybe that one cake that took way too long to make. That way, you can have all your items moving around on tough golems instead, which, let's be honest, is probably still more organized than they currently are in your chests. Alright, but that now leads us into 2023, which was the fourth and final mob vote we received. And I'd say we went out with a bang because we were given the Armadillo, which isn't just a new mob for the savannah, but it also kicked off the release of more frequent drop updates, which has given us more content over time. But let us remember the mobs we lost to the Armadillo, which I would say were all good choices, especially the crab, which would have spawned in the mangrove swamp and would have been the perfect friend for the frogs. And not only would they just look cool crawling around the mangrove swamp, but they would have also brought in an entirely new mechanic that had the potential to be massive. Since crabs could be fed with kelp, and then after some time they will search around to look for a place to lay their eggs, which works similar to the way turtles lay their eggs, since crab eggs will also need some time to pass before they can hatch. And it looks like the crab ate plenty of kelp because it was able to pop out 2 crab eggs like it was nothing. Now just wait around for a bit, and then the eggs will hatch into some adorable little baby crabs. And I hope that little guy knows how to swim because he just immediately jumped in the water after hatching. Well, there's no time to wait around, so it's a good thing I got all this kelp to speed up the baby crab, because some people just take too long to grow up. And hey look, it wasn't so bad because the baby crab popped off its crab claw, which is perfect since that's exactly what you'll want from the crab. Because the crab claw is a very special item that has the ability to help you place blocks further, which should, in theory, finally make me a better builder, I think. All you need to do is just equip the claw in your offhand, and then you can reach twice as far, allowing you to place and break blocks much further than ever before. And honestly, this crab claw alone would make the crab the greatest mob of all time, since the claw would be extremely useful while building. Maybe the crab was too good for this world after all. Alright, so that's the crab. You weren't treated right, but I still hope to see you again. Anyway, there's still one more mob left from the mob votes, and that's the penguin, which would have spawned in the stony shores, making them the first mob to spawn in this biome. And penguins love to just flop around and take a dip in the water without a care in the world, which I totally get because these guys are really out here living my dream life right now. And the only thing that could make their days better would be a ton of fish, because the more fish you give them, the more they will want to swim around with you, which seems like a pretty good deal to me, especially since the penguins are so good at swimming that their aura alone has the powers to make your boat go even faster. Trust me on this, because the penguin sure is taking his time to get to the boat. But once he finally makes it over, you can start rowing your boat, and the penguin will follow right along and give your boat a pretty big boost of speed, which is such a cool mechanic. I can't believe there's never been a mob that can do this before. Alright, that's all the mobs from the mob votes, but if you have a really good memory, then you'll remember there's also a few more mobs from the old biome votes as well, which are still waiting to get added, and the oldest of which is the meerkat, which was part of the desert biome vote, which means that it would have spawned in, you guessed it, the desert biome. And just look at them running around all over the sand. I mean, I really can't think of a better mob to live in the desert than the meerkat right here. And meerkats also love to chomp on any cod or salmon you throw at them. And who knows, maybe they could even help you find a desert village or temple as a sort of thanks for giving them some fish. And another mob from a biome vote lives in a biome right next to the desert, which is the ostrich found in the savanna biome, where they can run around with the other mobs here. And ostriches could also be a rideable mob, sort of like horses. But the main difference could be that ostriches are able to run much quicker than horses, but aren't able to jump as high, because you know, the ostriches can't just come in here and take over the place, but they can still be bred to make a baby ostrich, which might be able to run really fast one day, since it just needs to put in the work. Alright, now there's just one last mob on the waiting list to be added, and it's the vulture that would spawn in the Badlands, making it the first exclusive mob for this biome. And vultures would fly the skies of the Badlands, and would occasionally swoop down and grab any items that might be laying around, which means you might want to hold on extra tight to your items, since the vultures are waiting for the right moment to strike and take anything they can get their hands on. So that's all the mobs that never won a mob vote, but still won the hearts of many. And call me insane, but with the copper golem making a comeback, I really think there is a strong chance the next game drop could be bringing back the mobs from mob votes. And sure, they all probably won't be added together, but that still means the potential will always be there now that we know it's possible. That's a wrap for today. Don't forget to leave a like and hit subscribe, and also leave a comment saying which mob you really want to see the most. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.